maybe we could have a conversation here for a few moments. All of us joined together about each generation for the last few thousand years getting a bit more ignorant, a bit dumber, losing its awareness. The greatest deterrent, if you will, deterrent to intelligence is knowledge. And the greater we expand our knowledge, the greater we block our intelligence. I mean, it's obvious, right? And each generation gains a new level of the three, what do we call these? Three idiotic, really dumb things that we do. Each generation increases its justification, its reasonableness, its explanations. All of those things that I just mentioned negate, at least in our own minds, that we've made a mistake. And in essence, the greatest movement of intelligence happens when we observe our mistake and take responsibility for it. But if we make a mistake and then make it reasonable, justify it, explain it away, then we haven't made a mistake. Now here's the problem. When we do that, we keep making the same mistake. We keep repeating it because we have not taken responsibility for the mistake. Now, we've been doing this for thousands of years. Another way of perhaps explaining this is, if you're familiar with a copy machine, most of you probably are, then if you take a original copy and you put it in the machine and you hit copy, the copy comes out. And if you hit copy again, the copy comes out. And it will stay pretty constant. But if you put the original in, you hit copy, then you remove the original one and you put the copy in there and you hit copy. And then you remove that one and you keep copying the copy. Pretty soon you're going to have a blank sheet of paper. It'll take a lot of copies. But we've been doing that I just explained for thousands of years. We have been a copy of our last generation, which was a copy of the last generation. And each copy dulls itself. It cannot be quite the crispness, the clarity, the aware. I'm mixing two different dimensions here. The question then is, how long before we end up with a blank piece of paper in the domain of human? What it actually means is how long before we have the Buckminster Fuller comment come to fruition, and that is end the experiment called life on planet Earth. How long can a copy keep copying itself before it ends itself? I might even suggest we're close to that right now. It's even the further suggestion that I have that either we transform our life, die to our history, die to everything before right now, or we will end the experiment called life on planet Earth. I'm not meaning to be one of those soothsayers, but I guess I probably sound like one. And in essence, I mean, in reality, I am suggesting that very thing, that we could be at the end of the continuous copy from the copy. The unfortunate thing is, with our movement from the, to use a story, from the Garden of Eden to the having eaten the fruit of knowledge, the original has been thrown away. It's been discarded. We can't find the original to begin making a copy from. And if we did, we would need to throw that original away and actually be, for ourselves, a new human being. And that's the thing I have been promoting, speaking about. The possibility for the creation of a new human being. One who has no violence at its core. The present consciousness is a copy of the thousands of years old kill, destroy, maim, go to war, rape women. We even had our past president tell the world that he grabs women between the legs and does whatever he wants to do with them, and he's elected president by 71 million, well, at the time in 2016, 61 million religious people elected him president. After he said we must hit back twice as hard as we are hit. They still, that's just to show you the non-advancement of, at least in America, and we are considered, at least we consider ourselves to be the leader of the free world, and our president to be the leader of that. Our president, our past one at least, we consider, who grabs women between the legs and does whatever he wants, is or was the leader of the free world. But that's only been just a year ago that he's gone. Well, he still is seeing if he can make himself. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm suggesting here that we each need to see our own ignorance, our own violence, the fact that we are the reason we go to war. We are insane. If you get angry at anyone, at anything, at any time, then you are a copy of, on back a few thousand years, violence. Anger is a function of violence. If you get jealous, if you are greedy, if you are having to be right, if you're a narcissist, a racist, in America, 75% of Americans are racist, or 90% of Americans are, what do they call that thing? Supremacist. Not necessarily white supremacists, but supremacists. I mean, there's black supremacists. They think they're the greatest, and white, at any rate. If you have any feelings whatsoever, you are a copy of violence. There's no love in a person who has feelings. And in love, there's no feelings. So if you have feelings, anger, jealousy, greed, all of those things, then you are a product of violence. And here's the good news. Discovering that you are a product of violence is the reversal of that, if you speak the truth of it. So it's going to continue, this each generation being a little bit dumber, a little bit more, or a little bit less aware than the past generation, because each generation invents a more sophisticated group of generalizations, of reasonableness, of justification, of explanation. We have greater and greater fields. We keep stretching our explanations and our justifications and our reasonableness. And each of those moves us farther and farther and farther away from truth. And truth is the only thing that will set us free. However, that's really only half of a statement. The thing that will set us free is speaking the truth, as I'm doing here right now. I look like a fool up here with all these 41 years I've been doing this, and I have all these videos on YouTube. I think there's 11 or 12 years of videos of me showing my stupidity. So it takes the ability to speak the truth in order to set yourself free. And the truth is, planet Earth is an insane asylum. If you're on planet Earth and you're walking around somewhere between the sun and the earth, then you're insane. Now, the good news is only 7.1278910 and a half insane people on planet Earth. So that might leave you out of the, if you think it does. Now a bunch of people here, some people, there's something I can't read, and then Antonio, and then Antonio, and then DK. Oh wait, there's other people. That when they type Amin and DK and hello you guys. So, will we admit our own stupidity? Will we observe? Will we notice? Can we be aware enough to see that we are far more ignorant than 100 years ago people? And they were far more ignorant, dull than the 100 years before that. And as I said, my query is, how long can copying violence continue before it ends itself? I always like Buckminster Fuller's statement saying, how soon before we end the experiment called life on planet Earth? There is a thing that I promote, a thing that I say is possible. Hello, Catherine Evans. Perfect that you're listening, girl. And that thing is, Catherine Evans can tell you if she could speak here right now, transformation. In essence, in today's world, since we are born of robotic parents and forced into the world of roboticness, insanity, bombs, killing, murder, raping women, we have 220, I don't know, in America, 200 some mass killings in the last just few years. And we increase our sales of guns. So what really needs to happen, I say, is our birth, and then to live in the insanity of this world, fail at all of it, transform our life, become transformed. Now, the distinction between a transformed person and one born into this insanity is violence. There's no violence at the core of a transformed human being because they're a human being. Only people would kill. Only people would go to war. Only people have good reasons and justifications and explanations about why they have to go to war, why they have to start killing each other. So, this is my second video after a hiatus. What do they call that when you take a break? I don't know. Anyway, I was off from making videos. I guess you can tell I'm delighted to be back because they're fun to make. I mean, I realize that the listener, unfortunately, is going to either agree or disagree with me. And if you could, then this is my request. My first request is, don't believe a damn word I say. I'm a liar, a thief, and a cheat. So don't believe a damn thing I say. The second request that I have is do not agree with or disagree with anything I say. So here's my request. Listen. If you discover yourself agreeing or disagreeing, negate that and listen. Just listen. Like a bird chirping, a water running, or a flower blooming. Wait, how do you hear a flower blooming? Oh, they go push. Like that. Then after I'm done speaking, then you can say that guy was a nutcase, crazy as a bedbug. A perfect experience of life to each of you.